What is up, Underworld Ministry? I'm so glad we're back. You guys happy we're back? Yeah? Cool. All right. So we have another guest. I'm so excited for this one. I've seen them on Paranormal Lockdown. I've seen this episode 100 times. And we actually have the owner and Mary in the actual mansion. Here's our guest.
We'll keep the showers away, and if I kiss you in the garden.
That's right, the Beattie Mansion. I hope I said that right, Michael. My bad. But let's get him on to see if I actually said it right. This is Michael and Mary. What's going on, guys? Did I say that right?
Yes, the Beattie Mansion. I always tell people think of Warren Beatty, but an IE instead of a Y. If people are visual like I am, sometimes it's easier to remember it that way.
Got ya. So thank you guys for coming on to hang out with us. Like I said, I've seen this episode 100 times on Paranormal Lockdown. How did you come along to getting this house? Because I know you live in Sarasota down here, and this is all the way in Missouri. This is kind of way far out of
it. For lack of a better word, it drew me in. I went up to Sparks and White Cloud. A friend of mine had found a Civil War diary, and in that diary, it had a bit of a treasure hunt. Well, anyway, he wanted to pursue it, but he wanted to film a documentary about the tie-in with the diary and the Civil War and all this. And he wanted me to come up there and help him with some interviews. So I ended up going up there, and the last day, it was going to be spending the night and then flying back to Sarasota. Well, I had stopped at this farm auction on a Sunday afternoon, and I said, I have some extra time tomorrow. I wouldn't mind looking at some property in St. Joe. I'm just fascinated by the town. Yeah. And he said, well, one interesting fact about St. Joe, he said, after the Civil War, per capita, it was the wealthiest city in the United States. There were more millionaires per capita than anywhere in the country because it was one of the two gateways to the West.
Right.
St. Joseph on the Missouri River and St. Louis on the Mississippi. So people would, on their westward expansion, they'd stop in St. Joseph and buy everything for the rest of their lives. And so there are a lot of people that became millionaires, setting up dry goods stores and hardware stores and livery stables and you name it, everything you can imagine. Anyway, so I said I wouldn't mind looking at some property just for future reference. So they showed me two houses, neither of which I was particularly interested in. They said, well, the third one, don't know how you feel about commercial property, but where there's an interesting place, we'll show it to you. So we start driving up this long, steep hill, and I see this huge limestone wall that goes around the whole block. And at the top of the hill is a bunch of overbrush, and I can barely make out there's two buildings behind it. And so they tell me the history. We go inside, and immediately I felt like the place wrapped its arms around me. There's no other way of saying it. And the next day I made an offer on it. Not really knowing what I was going to do. I thought it's just a really cool building, and I'd love to try to turn it into like a Airbnb or something like that. that was 22 years ago. And about 8 years ago, I finally gave in to the idea that, yeah, it is really haunted.
Oh yeah,
So-
no, some of the pictures that you showed me that we're about to show tonight is, yeah, it's pretty.
Which
awesome.
ones? Michael's pictures or mine?
I think the ones that you sent me, Mary.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, definitely. I actually have thousands of them from this place, but take a long
know.
time to send all those.
I know people always ask me like, how many pictures do you want? I was like, as much as you want. And then I'm like, all right, okay, hold on.
That's enough. Stop. Yeah.
I think we're okay. But yeah, some of the Mary, how did you get involved in it?
Well, I'm from St. Joseph and I've lived here 95% of my life. And when I came back, I was prepared to do my work as a medium. And I remember this house from my childhood, seeing it when I was 10 years old. My dad told me that's where people go to die. It was the memorial home. Of course, this was quite a while back. It was
Right.
still the memorial home. And I saw people, on the balconies in wheelchairs and stuff. But I also saw Civil War soldiers and I saw slaves. And I knew something was up. Even at 10 years old, I knew something was up.
Yeah.
I knew that those people were not all solid form. And when I came back as an adult, drove past the place and I remembered what it had meant to my psyche. And I kind of made it my mission to get my Easter in here as an adult and actually do the work with the spirits. Because I think the building had been seen, but the spirits had not really had a voice.
Right.
So that's when I decided that I had to help them with that. And it's been a process. It's still ongoing. I'm learning more all the time. But actually, since I've been drawn in, I can't let go.
Yeah.
We're attached. I'm actually attached to the spirits here, and vice versa, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a location here in Clearwater that I do. They just sent me a message saying that they're saying Christopher while somebody else is investigating the house off of their spirit box, and they're still calling for me to come back to the house. But
Maybe they liked your style better than other people's.
I've gotten that a lot, actually.
Because they remember, and
Yeah.
they tattle too.
Do they?
Yes,
I don't know.
they do.
I go in as respectful as I can and
Oh yeah,
make it very
but I
clear
mean-
that I'm there to.
yeah. Well, they'll tell other people. They'll tell me when other people have come in and been disrespectful. And just this last weekend, the spirits down in the basement were telling me how these people made them afraid. So, I started the process all over again, telling them that it's their house, not ours, and
Yeah.
that we're visiting, and they shouldn't be afraid to come upstairs and hang out. And being as how a lot of our spirits are children, they need to be encouraged like you would
Yeah.
living children,
Right. Yeah.
They seem to respond to that. I'm kind of motherly too, so I kind of feel like they're drawn to that, So that's why I'm here.
Mike, I think your mic is off.
Yep, you're muted.
Maybe down here. Is that
There we
it?
go.
Bingo.
That's it.
My
That's
back was killing me. My back's starting to kill me, so I'm kind of squirming around here.
Oh, it's okay. So what was this building? Has it been many things? Has it been home or has it been?
I'll give you the brief history, and then Marianne could jump in anytime. But in 1854, the original owner was a guy named Armstrong Beattie. Now, he was a 5-term mayor of St. Joseph, and he also was a prominent banker. he was thought. My light just went out. Anyway, he was a prominent banker in town. My light fucking went out. Excuse me. Sorry.
Broadcasting in the dark. Ooh.
Yeah. Bingo. Okay. Anyway, he and his wife Eliza built it in 1854 as their primary residence, and they lived there all the way up until 1878 when he got a sudden case of cholera that came on a Monday, and by Friday he was dead.
Oh, wow.
That was in 1878. He died inside the mansion, and then in 2.5 years later, his wife Eliza passed away. She had had a fall and was an invalid the last year and a half of her life. But anyway, she also passed away in the mansion in 1880. At that time, the Ladies Union Benevolence Association acquired it, the LUBA for short. It was a group of ladies that they noticed there was a fairly large homeless population in St. Joseph. St. Joseph at that time was being one of the two gateways to the West. It was literally like the Wild West. And during the winter time, the town would swell up its largest until the spring, when the spring plains grass had grown up large enough or tall enough to sustain livestock as people went westward.
Right.
But the town, so you had all these mostly single men in town with nothing to do and money in their pocket. So there was an estimated 80 brothels that had sprung up.
Wow.
Well, these women would get pregnant and they have a child, and either they together or just the children would end up out on the street. And these ladies saw this and they felt a real need. So it opened up. They called it a home for the friendless. And it was the first orphanage in town as well. So the first month, 18 people moved in. There were 12 women with 6 children that moved in. And it grew from there. It was called a home for the friendless from 1880 until about 1904. And then it outgrew the facilities. So it became Memorial Home for the Aged. And it expanded, added another 40% onto the original building. So today it's 18,000 square feet with 34 bedrooms.
Wow.
So it was a memorial home for the aged from about 1904 to about 2004. For a brief time, it was a home for the drug addicted and mentally incapacitated. It was that for a brief time. It was a fraternity house for a very brief time.
Oh,
And
wow.
when I acquired it, a couple of Mormon ladies had bought it, and they wanted to become a Mormon genealogical research center. So when I came in, it had tons and tons of Mormon books and all these genealogical records, all on old computers and fish cards and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
So that was 2005 when I. So anyway, that was 2005. Mary Ann, what? Jump in, add whatever you want that I missed out on.
Okay. I have since discovered in amongst piles of research that Eliza was bedridden for 2.5 years. I feel like the ink was already dried on the bill of sale. She was barely gone. I found no record of a funeral for her. They did not get tombstones until 8 years later. The nieces and nephews that inherited $3 million and everything Armstrong left behind, which was a lot. They owned all the properties and all that. They sold it all off, and then they moved to various places, one of them being Salt Lake City. So there was also the fact that one of the executor for the second will, Armstrong had 3 wills. And that's one thing I had to discover too. In the third, he left Eliza 1/3 of everything. In the second, he left her the house, and that was it. The house and everything in it, but no actual monies. That went to the nieces and nephews, and that was the will that was acted upon. And they didn't act upon that until Eliza died. So there was a little bit of tap dancing there, and one of the nephews went on to be a U.S. senator. So you might say that Armstrong bankrolled possibly one of his first campaigns. You know, that's a druthers, you know, that's kind of a maybe, but
Right.
there is that. And they had never had their own children. Eliza's fondest dream was to have a house full of children. And after she passed away and it became the home for the friendless, and they started moving all these women and children in, another thing I found out, the orphan train that went through part of the Midwest stopped here 3 times and dropped children off. So it became one of the hubs, and the better run, it had a better reputation for care of the children. So for that time, that was very important to St. Joe. But the deal with the nieces and nephews, they feed it out of there. And Eliza did not get a tombstone either. None of them did. She didn't get an obituary, and she didn't get a formal funeral. And I found out all this later because there was actually no record of her having a service at that church.
Yeah.
And that was kind of sad. And in the will, it stated she should have all this, never got to be the lady of the house. She fell down the stairs very soon after Armstrong died and spent the last 2.5 years of her life in bed. And back in those days, they didn't have the therapy and things. So she was fairly removed from public life. And
Right.
she did not belong to any organizations like the wife of a mayor would. She was basically, it said in her obituary, she was basically behind the scenes, or she was a very private person. And that kind of seemed weird to me, but she threw herself into the nieces and nephews. And then once it became an orphanage, I think that's why she's still here, because of all these children's spirits.
Right.
I was just going to say, Marianne, do you think all the trauma that she experienced those last 2.5 years of her life is manifested somehow in her spirit there at the mansion? Because I
Yes.
sense that sometimes. I sense
Yeah.
that a sense of anguish. There's
The-
no other way to say it. Just I've heard a groaning sound, kind of a groaning and moaning.
Well, there were people that
Sometimes
died
at night.
here.
Yeah.
You know, lots of people that died here. But I will tell you that there was a lot of misinformation put out about her. And that was very heartbreaking to hear. When I came in the door, first thing I heard was, it was not my fault. I didn't do that. And then I was told by someone who gave us a tour that there was a big rumor that she had murdered Armstrong, and nothing could be farther from the truth. He had cholera, and it was his second case of cholera. That was something people didn't talk about. And they called it, I'll think of it in a minute. The sporadic cholera. They called it sporadic cholera. They didn't know how bacteria worked at the time.
Right.
So when
Yeah.
it came back to get him the second time, it got him. And he got it the first time when he went to serve in the Civil War in the cavalry as a captain. Left the office of mayor, got cholera, came home. He only served for 2.5 months, came home, and they nursed him back to health. Then he went back to his banking and mayor's business. So he didn't give up the ghost for a very long time, but
Yeah.
she nursed him. She did not kill him. She never would have done that. He controlled everything. You know, he controlled all the money.
He had all the
And-
purse strings. Yeah.
Yes, and had the businesses. That's what keep everything going, you know. And he handled the funding for everything. He also had 15 slaves when he built this house, which is quite a few for one domicile. But
Yeah.
he had a tendency to rent them out, is what I found. They were on loan or rented out to other people as they came and went, or to work for people. He had some very talented people under his care.
Yeah.
And I think earning their keep was a big part of their time here, you know.
So
And that
I
goes
know-
with the patients too. I think they some of the ladies that came here earned their keep, maybe helped with the children or helped with cooking or sewing or whatever.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
volunteers.
It was more of a
There were a lot of volunteers when it was the home for the friendless.
Mm-hmm.
because
I think they had.
that was all a charity.
Yeah,
I know
I
back
think
in
that.
those days, the death rate of children weren't very good. You know, the
Very high.
diseases, stuff like we don't have now. So, do you think that's where a lot of the children's spirits war come from that part of that history, or?
And in
Well,
fact, we have. I found there's a newspaper article that we have at the mansion from 1896, and it says Mabel Iden expired at the age of 4 years, 3 months, and how many of her days old. She was surrounded by her playmates as she breathed her last breath, or something like that. Anyway, her sister and her brother were dropped off at the mansion. Their father had drowned the year before out in a lake. Their mother had died previously, so with no parents anymore, they were dropped off at the home for the friendless. And
after he died, I found out he was murdered, though.
he was. They
Mr.
drowned him.
Yeah, John
I know he
Iden was
drowned.
murdered.
Yeah. What lake?
They
It says it's like Cherry Lake or something like. I forget what lake it says in the article.
Smithville Lake.
Smithville Lake. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they found him floating in the middle of the lake in a business suit with no boat in sight, no way to get out there, and he was last seen in the company of 4 bums.
Wow.
So I think he had over $500 in his pocket. That was recorded as well, and no money was found on him, and he had last been seen drinking heavily with these bums.
Okay.
So
well, anyway, they had three small children that were left at the mansion that were dropped off at the home for the friendless. And Mabel Iden passed away there, I believe, of smallpox. That was pretty prominent at that time. But her spirit definitely. Well, I've seen her before. She's a little blonde-haired girl. I saw her peeking around a corner. I saw a full body apparition, just one time.
Where did you see that, Michael?
She was in the hallway down right, basically where Eliza's picture is. She peeked out from around the corner, and I was down the other hallway toward the main building.
Okay.
But there's quite a few spirits that you usually see them as shadow figures. That's where I see them, or you hear sounds. They make sounds a lot, either whistling. Some people feel a tap on the shoulder or a little tug of their hair as they're touring through the hall.
They reach in people's pockets sometimes.
Yeah. When Nick and Katrina were looking for scouting locations, their producer came through, and he was going down the basement. And as he passed between the 2 buildings, he heard a real distinct growl, and he said, "Okay, we'd like to film here." He said that's a good indication.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up.
The very first group that I allowed to come in 8 years ago to do a paranormal investigation, and overnight, the next day I said, "What did you find?" He said, "It's insanely haunted." And this is somebody from a mental health industry. And for him to use that term, I always thought was peculiar. It's insanely haunted.
Well, I have a tendency to believe that some people bring out energies that are not as friendly as other people bring out. And I'm here to tell you that I know for a fact that first time I came in the building, really on a tour, and I heard them talking downstairs, and I realized one of the pictures I sent you where they were all hiding at the end of the hallway. And I took this picture. I just kept click, 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 click until, you see you've got something later. And they were telling me, we're scared, we're afraid. Well, they were afraid of living people. And that's where the story about a demon in the basement came about. And there is no demon in the basement. There's some spirits that don't want to be jacked with sometimes, but it's all about your method. It really
in the basement, they do tend to be more aggressive in the basement.
I feel like you can be grumpy in life, you can be grumpy in death.
There you go. I'm with you on that for sure.
Some people
I
are
was-
just grumpy.
Yeah. For the first 15 years I owned the mansion, my intent was always to turn it into a bed and breakfast or kind of an Airbnb type thing. And I would have construction workers come in and they'd spend a couple weeks and they'd do some work and then they wouldn't come back. Finally, I ran into one at Home Depot and I said, dude, I need your help. He's like, man, he goes, I'm not coming back. I said, what's the problem? That place gives me the creeps. He goes, you know, it's really haunted, don't you? I know, but they're not going to hurt you. But I had trouble having
Not
trouble
bad.
keeping people there.
Yeah.
And so I was always a little bit of a skeptic. You know, I wasn't really sure about the spirits and everything. I said, you know, weird stuff happens in old buildings. But one week I spent there, the full week that I ever stayed there, I had a black lab named Betty, big old Betty Boogaloo. And her name was spelled Betty, Beattie, the same as the mansion.
Yeah.
Anyway, Betty was with me, and every night, right around 11 or 12 o'clock when I was ready to go to bed, I would hear this music playing and laughter, and I couldn't tell where it was coming from, but it was like there was a party going on somewhere. This would happen every single night during this week. Finally, I'm still trying to rationalize in my mind, what could it be? What could it be? Finally, the very last night I stayed, I wake up and I look over and there's the old flip style alarm clock where the numbers rotate around, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's exactly 4 a.m. and I hear it's raining outside. So that makes me think I should go to the bathroom. I start walking down the hallway. Betty's following me and I hear the music. I hear the laughter. This time I distinctly hear children laughing. And anyway, I'm still trying to rationalize. I'm looking in each room. I'm thinking it's got to be a clock radio or something kicks on the same time every night. I'm walking down the hallway and it's getting louder. It's getting louder. Finally, I get to the end of the hallway and there's the fire escape door in front of me. That's all there is. So I open the fire escape door and the music, it's pouring down rain outside, but the music, the laughter, everything stops. Dead silence. So the hair on the back of my neck goes up. Even now, as I'm talking about it, I feel that.
Yeah.
So anyway, I scurry back to the bedroom. I close the door and I wedge a chair against the door, like that's going to do anything, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
My dog Betty goes in the closet and would not come out. She had never done it before, never did it since. But that one time, and I said, all right, I believe this stuff is for real. This place has got some spirits for sure.
Wow.
But for some reason, they'd have a party every night, like 11 or 12.
Yeah. Yeah, I've actually been in the same situation, kind of. The Beattie Mansion, it's in Mount Joy, PA. The old brewery, but it's connected to an old hotel. And we went in there and we went into like the little ballroom party area of the house. Yeah, and it definitely felt like we walked into a party that we weren't supposed to be at. And I was like, yeah,
let's not do this. Yeah, I understand.
Let's go check out this other room.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those people. I don't run. I'll sit there and we're having a party. Cool. Let's go. What are we doing? Like, I'm down to party. What's up?
Well, people have to remember that those of us that do this for shits and giggles, honestly, and I've been doing it for, I hate to admit, almost 60 years, but wow. I've been talking to dead people my entire life, so this was just an easy transition for me. And I tell people, oh, this happened to that happened. They say, oh, we're so scared. And I was like, well, what did you come here for?
Yeah.
Isn't this why you go where you are? You heard about this happening here. It happened to you. Yay. Yeah. It's like hitting the lottery when you get some really cool stuff. I give tours and then they actually start doing what I said has happened there. That's happened multiple times, and that's like a yes,
Yeah,
that's obviously I'm doing something right. It happens a lot.
Maybe they're
Well,
waiting.
give an example, Marianne. Like what, for instance? What would you tell them? What story would you tell them, and then it would happen?
We were downstairs with the Spirit Realm Network people. We were down in the basement, and they said, "What's that above the door to the kitchen? Is that the doorbell?" And I said, "It's for the one of the doors. I don't know which one." I said, "But it's obviously rusted shut." And after we went through the door, it went plink. It's like somebody actually forced the hammer. And then we're talking about that, and that was cool. And I said something about the water turning on in the sink in the basement, the service sink. And when we came back out, it was dripping. And that was interesting. And then I said, we also hear the piano down here. There's a player piano downstairs.
Yeah.
And I hear one key, the highest key. And as we walked into the laundry room in the basement, it went blink, just on cue. And it was very cool. You people are like, "Oh my God." And I was like, "I love this. That's why I'm here." We got the chiming now,
I'll hear the grand piano, a couple notes on it. I'll be upstairs. I'm positive I'm the only person in the mansion, and I'll hear a couple notes on the piano, and I know I'm the only one in there.
Now, I've heard the lowest key up here, the boom, drama, all drama. I've heard that one up here, but downstairs on the player piano, the highest one. And that's also happened. We've also been followed around by the creeper. When I said we have a creeper that likes to go from the floor along the wall and then up. And he has a tendency to hang over the ceiling at you, like your typical creeper. And actually, it happened. One of the people with me, I did not know they could see the same things I do. They said, "Holy shit, there he is."
In the hallway.
That's
in the hallway between the two buildings and the basement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right there, in the nurse's wing is where I think he lives in the room with the green carpet.
Okay.
I think he lives in there.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he comes whipping out. He can go anywhere he wants. There are no boundaries for them. But yeah, when they do these things on cue, that's pretty cool. They've also manipulated. My husband and I were working in the dining room, and there's an old school stereo way at the back of the room. It's got a turntable on it. We put a record on it that we brought over here for display. I create displays, and it was a warped record. Well, not that one, but that is a cool one. It was a regular, like a 70s stereo, maybe with the big speakers, and I heard woo, woo, woo from the office, and I was walking down the hallway. I was the only one in the house, and I said, "Where's that coming from?" And then I heard it again, and I stepped into the dining room, and there was the turntable moving with the arm on the record. It would have had to been taken off the arm, put on the record, the switch turned on and started up, but it wasn't plugged in. So they did all this, and it's like, that's kind of stuff is like gifts to me. It's like they're giving me a gift.
Did you I would have plugged it in and just turned it on.
I've done that. I've done that before.
What you want? Here you go. All right, go for it. There you go.
They also went from Tommy Dorsey to Nirvana on the radio dial while we were actually in the room. And my husband looks at me. He is not psychic. He's not a medium. He said, did you hear that? See, people believe him because he's the rational one, know.
Yeah.
And people believe him, and he goes, "Did you hear that?" And I said, "Dude, if you can hear that, I can hear that." And I just say, "Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you."
Yeah, for sure.
It's the actual moving of things. They hide his keys. They lock him in the basement. They do all kinds of things to him. I think just to show him, we're here. Know it. He really, this place has made him a very firm believer.
I tell people our spirits are if I could sum them up in one word, I would say whimsical. They like playing like little tricks on you, just little moving things around, turning lights on and off, tugging on your hair, pulling on your pant leg, just
They play
little
with-
things like that.
Yeah, they play with bare
Trying to get
toes
your
too.
attention.
But I've
Yeah.
never ever felt pure evil. I've always said if I ever got to the point where I really felt pure evil in there, I would sell it.
Yeah.
Or we would figure out a way to get the spirits out.
Right.
I got rid of some nasty people. I will say that straight up. I got rid of some nasty clingers on in the house when I first started here because I wanted the people that found solace here, camaraderie, and a sense of community. I
Yeah.
wanted them to be the prevalent things, and I wanted more of Eliza too.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
would have been left the house. It wasn't just about Armstrong, and she had a very big desire. I've been asked if I channel her, and I think I do in a way. She definitely tells me what she wants done, and I'll do that. And then I realize, oh my God, I'm doing it for her too. But
Yeah.
I think the vulnerable people here needed a voice, and
Right.
and you get more here with sugar than you do with vinegar. That's what I tell people.
Yeah.
You don't provoke these people, and they will come out to play.
If you
And Michael said,
if you embrace the spirits, they'll
Mhm.
embrace you back.
Mhm. Yeah. They play tag. Love to play hide and go seek. You'll hear them down the hall, and it's really easy to get your hallways mixed up here in the dark. And you'll hear them down the hall. You'll go down there, then you'll hear them right back where you just came from.
Yeah.
They do that a lot. The old bait and switch kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Right. So I wanted to. We have a lot of pictures of the house. We'll get through them really quick. We'll talk about them each picture a little bit.
Okay.
So I love old buildings and old architect, and they just don't make buildings like this anymore.
That's what made me fall in love with it. The 12-foot ceilings on the main floor and the 10-foot on the second floor, but all the hardwood, the oak flooring throughout 18,000 square feet.
That's an old one.
I was going to
That's
say,
a-
is there anything that you could talk about this? Because I know the basement's always has stories of basement.
That's where I saw the creeper up on the one end down there, on the far end.
Wow.
You can't even get in that room now because it's so full of stuff, and the door is swollen, so you can't get it open. So that's a good indication to me. Maybe you don't want it open.
Yeah.
The basement can feel very oppressive. I've never had anything bad happen to me down there. I've been grumbled at. But I think it's Carl, our caretaker.
Yeah.
Because he's very picky about who he wants in his space. And if you have good intentions, and like we fix things, we're not remodeling. Michael can tell you they don't want that. They want things. They're
not fans of urban renewal.
No, they want things put back together. So we do that as much as possible. And bringing in all the eras we're 172 years old now, going on 173. So that's a long time.
That's a long time.
You can bring in any era you want, and it fits here, which is very cool because everything works. We even have a couch. Michael loves this couch. I'm creeped out by it. We even have a couch. It's semicircle shaped. And it looks like Hugh Hefner had it in his garage, is what I say.
It's one piece. It's downfilled. It's entirely downfilled. One piece, 14 feet. There you go. 14 feet across, all covered in green velvet.
And it was built for the fraternity that was here.
It's a lot older than that, Marianne. It's a lot older than that. The downfilled. It's about 80 years old.
Okay, I thought that's what you told me.
No, it's about 80 years old. It's downfilled. It was one of the earliest additions for the memorial home for the aged. Yeah, they wanted a place where people could lounge. But yeah, it was built on site. Yeah, it was built right where it sits.
Well, if the fraternity used it, then yeah.
But it's all entirely. I'd sit on it and I'd get up and I'd see this tiny white feather, and I'm looking up and I'm looking around. I'm thinking, where the hell are these feathers coming from? Every time I'd sit down, I'd see this little white feather. Finally, I figured out it's stuffed with down.
Well,
So yeah,
if it's 80 years old though, then the fraternity did use it. That's why I say don't use
they
the
didn't
black
trash.
light.
Yeah, they didn't trash it. That's the
Yeah,
best
that's
part of it.
amazing. That's amazing. But yeah, they did use it, so don't use a black light on it, is what I tell people.
So what is
Or
this
luminol.
room?
Say that again.
What is this room? It looks like a children's room, maybe.
Yes, no, that isn't. That's Eliza's room. That's where Eliza was. There's another room that's the children's room.
Oh,
We'll flash through it if we get to it.
I will interject that these are really, really old pictures. These are pictures before I came on, my husband and I came on, and we've made it, the Eliza's room is much nicer now, more feminine. One thing, we cleaned everything up, took all the stuff that you saw on Paranormal Lockdown, all the stuff in the hallways. We cleared the hallways out. It's much more investigator friendly now, and the spirits like it better because it's more homey in the common areas.
Okay.
But yeah, we've changed a lot, but that is Michael's right. That is Eliza's room.
I kind of just grabbed some photos off the Facebook.
Sitting above Marianne, that's Buford. He's our mascot. He's an elk. He had the most beautiful, huge rack of horns when I originally put him up there, and somebody broke in and stole his horns off.
Oh no!
So I hope till their dying day, those horns are giving them holy hell.
Yeah, you can't steal an elk's antlers and not steal his soul.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
I just like whoever took these pictures. I like the old black and white.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the first level? Is this second or?
Yes. Yeah.
Where is it? I can't tell, Marianne.
Yeah, this is looking from right outside the parlor down towards the fire escape door, Michael.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you see anything along these hallways?
Most definitely. I see shadow figures are very prevalent. A lot of shadow figures, and that's where I originally saw Mabel peeking around the corner down on the end of one hallway.
Oh wow!
And actually, Katrina, that's exactly where Katrina and Nick caught a video of a little girl peeking around the corner.
Okay, I knew it looked familiar.
The exact same area where I saw Mabel.
Now, you were saying about the grand piano.
Yeah, occasionally you'll hear a note or two come out of it.
Wow. Does anybody play it, or is it kind of just?
No,
Eliza played piano for her church. That was in her obituary. Her obituary was written about a person that was in the parish, or not parish, was in the congregation of the church she went to. Okay. And she played piano for them, I found out. So it could very well be her. I heard the lowest key and then a woman singing, ah, like that right afterwards. That was the first night I was here. So I had a lot of fun the first night I was here. That's when I realized I had to come back. But yeah, that's the dramatic key right there.
You being in that town your whole life and watching all of it grow and all these things change, was it known as like the haunted house of the neighborhood?
Yes. Yeah, the school children when they were walking to school would go on the other side of the street. I've had people tell me that.
And the elderly residents would hang off the balcony. They'd be up on the balcony, so you'd see these 70, 80-year-old people leaning over a balcony. And so it kind of freaked the neighborhood kids out, as it would anybody.
Yeah. Oh man. So we have a couple more. I don't know if this is like, I don't know how old.
Was that Armstrong's room?
I call that Kelly's room.
Okay. Yep. That's where Kelly in when he was on My Haunted
My
Hometown?
horror story.
My
Oh, no.
Horror Story. Yeah,
And-
yeah, we were featured in that in the episode in My Horror Story.
Season 1, episode 8. Y'all should look it up. It's very interesting.
I'll definitely look
What
that up.
was the episode called? Encountering Evil or something? What was it?
No, that was the ones that the Canadians filmed for Blue
Okay.
Ant
What was
Media.
What was the episode called on
The
My
episode
Horror?
was called "Haunting at the Mansion."
Okay.
Right.
Now we
Haunting at the Mansion.
for a brief period before I totally embraced the paranormal side of it, I thought about selling it. So I said, you know what? Rather than let people know it's the Beattie Mansion in the listing, we'll call it the House on the Hill.
I
So
was going to ask that why there was two names.
So that was the tie-in. There was a brief time there where I said, well, I don't want, I'm in case I decide to sell it, let's call it a House on the Hill instead. So you'll find if people go on YouTube or go on any videos, they can find us under the Beattie Mansion or the House on the Hill.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was gonna try to find a little intro for this, and yeah, it kept coming up House on the Hill. I'm like, it's am I looking at the right one or
Right.
Well, it was originally built for the Beatties. It was also, I found out recently, built on 10 acres.
Wow.
So all the land around this were
Everything across the alley. I'm sure that was all part
everything.
of it, right?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
the wall matches.
Right.
The wall
Yeah.
matches. But they had 10 acres. None of these houses would have been here. And I think they sold off plots or plats of land
Yeah.
in order to keep the place running. That was common.
That was
at the
very
time.
common. Yep.
Yeah.
So we have everybody knows about the boiler rooms. Boiler rooms and locations are usually the most haunted. Usually, I don't know why.
Yeah.
Is that the case here too, or
Yes, very much so. I've had a lot of weird occasions. In fact, the first few years I owned the place, in the winter I actually used the boiler. I fired it up, but one month I let somebody stay there, and they liked it nice and warm. So I came in to the 18,000 square foot building, and it was nice and toasty. And then I got the bill that month. There was $1,400, the natural gas bill. I'm like, no, not gonna do that again. And that was the last time we ever heated the entire building.
Yeah,
No
I don't
mas.
blame you.
Yeah.
What kind of activity happens there? More shadows, more creeper, or
A lot of shadows, and I've had the door. There's a real heavy, like a fire door, and I'm sure it is a fire door being in the boiler room.
yeah?
Anyway, I've had that slam behind me before.
Wow.
Yeah. And it doesn't swing that freely. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But there's a tunnel that goes out under the front porch, and I've always wanted to go out there and do some metal detecting. I still believe. Okay, picture this: Armstrong Beattie, prominent banker of St. Joseph, also the mayor. The Civil War comes. They come up the riverboat, come up by the river, and they get off in St. Joe. The Confederate forces, because there was a Union fort just up the hill called Fort Smith, and there was a 2,500 troop Union fort just up the hill from where we are. Anyway, so during the Civil War, here's Armstrong, prominent banker, also mayor of the town. If you're going to go question somebody or try to get money, who are you going to go to? He's the logical choice. When he suddenly died in 1878, I believe that there's either gold or at least valuable coins hidden somewhere in the property. That's always been my intent, is to get a real good metal detector and really do a job of really searching. and try to see what's in the walls because it's got all these really thick walls.
Yeah.
It would
Well,
be
he
really
didn't-
interesting to know.
He didn't die until the Civil War was over.
Right,
So,
right. Yeah, no,
yeah.
no,
So
but I'm
I
saying,
think,
but
I
I'm,
think he,
but I'm saying he always had a private stash.
oh, well,
He always had a place where he had a private stash, and it's never been uncovered to my knowledge.
well, they're not going to tell you. They're not going to tell you, hey, we found all this stuff. Guess
Right.
what?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
For sure.
So
Can you
there's
imagine-
that. But I think that it was already set up so the nieces and nephews, particularly the executor of the estate,
After
I
he
think
died,
it was
yeah.
always set up where he could get his hands on it, but he wasn't going to tell everybody that. I mean,
Right.
there was a lot of secret moving and shaking amongst the
The elite.
heirs to
Yeah,
the
yep.
heirs to the and all of a sudden they were gone. And then it became the orphanage, and then it became the old people's home memorial home for over 100 years.
Oh wow.
So with-
And I wanted
with
to get this in here.
Picture this with 34 bedrooms,
35.
18, all right,
35.
35, all right.
Yeah.
Anyway, with that many bedrooms and all the residents that were there that died over the course of 100 years. This is before there was such a thing as hospice. So
Right.
that was their last earthly home for literally hundreds and hundreds of people.
They
for-
literally came here to live their life out.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Lived out their dying days.
35 rooms, 100 years. You can imagine all the elderly people that did pass away here.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, and it's
When I first bought it, I met someone that worked there as an orderly, and she said you would not believe how gorgeous this place was. She said it was the most prominent place in town where people would would take their parents when they got to be invalid. They would
Right.
take all their prized antiques with them. So she said it was filled with the most gorgeous antiques you can ever imagine. Everybody brought their most favorite antiques or their special heirlooms.
Right.
And I said, whatever happened? She said they had a big auction and sold everything off. I'm like, oh my God. She said she goes, I remember this clawfoot table and the claws were 8 inches in diameter.
Wow.
that's some claws.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
pretty big. So
It's-
I wanted to ask about this because you sent me this picture, Mary. Do you guys find random shoes there or?
Those are all shoes left over from the residents. I had given all the clothes away, but the shoes were in this kind of shape. So we just left them in a pile, but those are all from people that have passed on. There's a lot of energy that's held within those shoes.
I have a story about the shoes.
I was hoping you
Pray
did.
tell.
We always told people that they were left by the memorial home people. And back in those days, if you had leather shoes, you took them with you. You
Yeah.
know, you didn't just dump them if you could actually use them. So they were left by the people of the memorial home, and they were moved one time. They were taken out of that
Oh, I know.
hallway, out of that pass through, and I woke up in a middle of a fever dream. Where's our shoes? So literally came back the next day. I told Michael they moved their shoes. Oh my God. I found their shoes and put them back. And it quelled that.
I think there's about 18 of them. I forget, but
Yeah.
I think there's about 9 pair, both men's and women's.
Wow.
I feel like some of them aren't full pairs anymore, but I did find the stash of shoes. Somebody had put them in buckets and put them where you couldn't see them. And that's like saying these people weren't here to me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, where is this? Is it in the basement or is it just a random?
It's in the basement in the hallway between the 2 buildings.
Okay.
It's a pass
Between the
through.
east and the west side.
Yeah, it's a pass through. And the people pull up to the outside and they see how big it is. Michael can tell you this. They see how big the place is. Well, the basement is the entire footprint of the house.
Yeah.
And it goes to a place where it's under the front porch. So it's makes the building almost twice as big.
Why,
And
Marianne?
you
Why
open-
have you ever figured out why there's a step up to go into that room and that room only?
It was a coal room.
Well, now on the other side of the hallway is where those long two coal rooms with the brick walls. Those were the two coal rooms. That goes like toward the front, under the front porch. It's got the really low ceiling, but for some reason it has a step up. And I don't know why it is. It's about, what is it? About 14 inches, I think, something like that.
Yeah, it is, but it also has exterior windows on it.
Right. That's right.
It's not,
That's true.
it's not interior. It's built into the basement. I think because of those weird placed windows, and because I think they incorporated part of the carriage house, because in part of the brick you can see where it's a circular layout of brick about horse head height. And the thing is, we don't have pictures. We don't have a way to say this used to be. It just is what it is.
Right.
And I have to go by kind of what I can imagine and what I can see when I try hard enough, but what they can tell me. And I always used to smell, pardon my French or my language, but I always used to smell horse shit.
You spoke French.
Yeah. Well, I said horse shit, but I smelled horses when I came in. And I think that was actually where we come in, actually the back door. So the building has been.
It's a very dominant smell.
And then I realized that I think that was the pass through back in the day. Of course, this was 150 some years ago, but they've altered the outside of the building from what I can find in pictures 5 times. And the inside, it's confusing. It's like getting on a tilt-a-whirl and getting off when you're drunk. It's like, my God, trying to imagine. And I just now figured out, this last year, where they moved the servants' stairs from.
Okay.
Because the servants' stairs never would have coincided with the family stairs. They would have been at opposite ends of the house.
Yeah, for sure.
And there's only one doorway that's that high. So, and actually in that door that we can't access now because it's full of storage, there is a coffin corner. And it's like, holy cow, that's a coffin corner. Okay, just a circular dip in the stairway.
Yeah.
But because everything's been changed, it makes no sense to the naked eye. I kind of have to, I ask for help actually a lot.
Marianne, I've never asked you, the building, as you go down the hill, the next block, there's what looks to have been an old stables, but it was also used by Tri-Pure as a bottling plant. Do you know the building I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
I've always been so curious about it. This is a company that was a bottling plant back in the 20s they did a soft drink called Tri-Pure, and it was supposed to be it was supposed to be like a health drink. It was kind of like snake oil, but it was called Tri-Pure, and they sold it as kind of a health tonic. But the old bottling plant is down the hill there. It's over 100 years old. I've always been just really, really curious about that building.
Interesting story about that building. My father told me that on the house side, because it looks like a house was built onto it, that it was a whorehouse.
Okay.
And my dad told me that when I was little. My dad told me that when I was a little girl.
The way it's set up from the house outside, it had to have been a stables.
Yes, it was.
Yeah,
you can tell. You can tell by the doors and the windows in it.
Yeah.
They are all low for the horses.
I've just always been intrigued by that building.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to see if I can get a tour through there.
It'd be very interesting to see.
Yeah.
I've only seen one picture of it other than seeing the building itself.
There's a couple everybody knows. I like my haunted dolls. So there's a couple that you sent me. What is this? I've never seen anything like that.
I actually found that in the basement, digging around what we thought was trash.
Okay.
I actually found that would have belonged to a little black girl, I believe.
Yeah, that would have been like almost like a slave doll.
Yeah, like a handmade, of course. They would have called them mammy dolls back in
Yeah.
the day.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to her other half, but that I know actually belonged to a little slave girl here, and she was very glad when I found it.
Wow. Now there's the one you sent me. We'll get to that one.
Okay.
What is this trio? Is there anything to these dolls, or are they kind of just for show?
It's Shirley Temple on the one on the right. That's a
Okay.
Shirley Temple doll. The other two I had found that they were left at the mansion. Apparently, either while it was Memorial Home for the Aged, it's possible that grandchildren had come to visit their grandparents and had left their dolls behind. I'm not really sure.
Well, we had some people that were mentally compromised. Maybe the dolls were a soothing
That's
thing.
very possible.
It's hard
Yeah,
to
that's
say.
good.
It's hard to
That makes
say.
sense. Yeah.
And they used to make dolls to look like a family member. So it's hard to say. It's hard to say.
The more like memorial loss, or kind
Like
of
a memorial. Yeah, like a mourning doll.
Yeah. Oh,
Like
your mourning doll.
MOURN. Like yours, like yours that has human hair. I imagine that's probably what that was.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
They use the hair from one of their children they want to remember or something.
Yeah, this doll right here. I don't.
It's got human hair.
Yeah, it has human hair.
Mm.
Oh, so we'll get to the one that you like that you wanted to show, Mike.
Yeah, the one on the left is really my favorite. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, what's it say again, Marianne?
Oh Lord.
I'm sorry.
I was ashamed of myself when I realized life was a costume party and I had attended with my real face. And then it said Kafka. And I don't know if that means something or if it was a name of a person.
Kafka was a Russian writer.
Okay.
Like a Russian like
maybe
a poet, like he was an author, very prominent author, a little bit like Tolstoy, kind of, I would say. So
that would have been a direct quote.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm.
Well, where did you find this doll? Does it have activity to it, or you just like it because of the saying on it, or?
I got it from a lady that she was absolutely brilliant, just absolutely brilliant. But she had some mental issues. But she had created that. It's just brilliant the way she put it all together. Yeah. But you can also see that she had some psychological issues too. You kind of almost like she's bipolar, where you see the two sides of her. And I would experience that sometimes, where she was just like this, one of the most brilliant people I've ever talked to. But then on the other hand, she had this side that you would kind of be talking to her and you kind of see her drifting off a little bit, where she kind of go into this other persona. A little bit like schizophrenia, a little bit, kind of. Yeah.
Well, multiple personalities is a big thing.
Definitely multiple personalities.
I mean, it's a big thing. And when I first picked it up, I was not prepared for that. I only had touched it with naked hands one time. And that's when I first opened the box to see what it was. And Michael had sent me a message about what went into the doll.
Yeah, that I was sending it.
Yeah, but when I picked it up, it's like I had a crowd of people yelling at me all at once. So I put it back down. And then when I actually put it on display, handled both of them, there's two. And when I put it on display, I actually had gloves on and I used a dish towel. So I didn't have to look in their eyes.
Yeah.
It was just, I think, definitely feel there's attachment to it. And I feel that that was a way for possibly this woman to get that out of her, get
Yeah.
that, you know, to purge maybe.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
But she was
might have
giving
been,
it to me as a gift. I'd gotten to know her pretty well. And very interesting lady. Lucille was her name.
I had a cat named Lucille.
She's from New Orleans.
I am.
Oh.
Yes, she lived in New Orleans.
Give me 1 second, guys.
There you are.
Did we lose you, Christopher?
You guys see me?
My back is killing me. I'm gonna have to wrap it up my part.
I hear you.
My
But I
back is
don't
actually
see you yet.
screaming at me. This sciatica. It's the worst pain I've ever had in my whole life. I just I gotta do something because this.
Okay.
If you gotta go, Mike, we completely
Tell
understand.
Christopher I'm gonna check out, but I'll tell him I'll be in touch with him.
I can
He
still
hears
hear
you.
you, Mike.
All right. Take care, Christopher. Thank you so much,
All
my friend.
Thank you. We'll keep in touch. I don't know why.
Well, there's me. Okay, it's buffering.
That's haven't had this happen in a while.
Maybe it's the location.
Oh,
We have a lot of equipment malfunction here.
there we go.
There we are.
Back.
There we are.
Hi. So it's actually I'm glad that he got off because he looked like he was in pain.
Yeah, it's really, he talks about wanting to be in the Midwest, but he would not be able to handle these winters, you know. It was brutal last couple of years with just the bitter cold. So I can't
Yeah.
imagine. I can't
Oh,
imagine
I-
him handling that.
Living in Pennsylvania, being from Florida, the first time they hit below 0, I was like, I'm done. I don't want to do this.
That
This
is a hideous kind of cold too.
This is so cold.
That's
Okay.
Arctic stuff they got going on there.
Yeah.
They can keep it. They can keep it. We did have 10-foot drifts outside the mansion last year.
Oh,
And literally my husband was damn near lost. I could see the top of his head on the camera
yeah.
about there. That's how deep the drifts were. So I hope that never happens again.
Yeah.
Can't say that.
I remember waking up and the snow dropped so much it buried my whole car. My whole car was gone.
Yeah. That would do it for me.
So it's actually nice that I still have you here because I was actually going to get into your photos of the activity in the house.
Okay.
I don't know how much time you have left that you can be on, but I'll make this fast.
Well, we'll find out.
So didn't know it was an orphanage before we did this show.
Okay.
You can literally see what it looks like a child in the window. Do you see these?
Right here? Right
Yeah.
here? Okay. See, I saw a woman, but that doesn't mean that you couldn't see other things. But what do you see right here?
Oh no, I do. Okay.
That's
Now
a
that you say
man.
that, a
That's
little
a man.
further up, right in the
Yeah.
corner, right corner.
Yep. That is a man with a cavalry hat.
Wow. So right down. So you go down from the face in the corner, go
Yeah.
down to the mid right of that picture.
Yeah.
It looks like a little kid's face.
It could. Yeah. I had thought that. But I also thought I had wondered if I got maybe Armstrong and Eliza. I really don't know. I really don't know. It's definitely a person. It's
Yeah.
definitely a person. But
I
I was I was all the way down off the property at an intersection across the street, taking stills for our event, stills
Yeah.
of the autumn trees, actually. So that was like an absolute accident.
I was going to ask, since you're the more prominent one there, do you guys see stuff in windows? Is that known in the town that you can see?
Yes. Yes.
Like you
Yeah,
just walk by and
Yeah, the people that live around us very often see things going on, lights flickering and things like that. And a lot of people have trespassed and come up on the porch and looked in the windows and all that. And then they see something. And I always say, well, maybe you weren't supposed to be there.
yeah,
I
that's
mean,
what
you know,
get.
yeah, yeah,
Kill the cat.
yeah.
Wow. So
Honestly, there's always something going on here. We just may not be privy to it in our reality. There's always
Right.
something going on here. This is the most active place I've ever been in my life, really.
yeah.
On a consistent manner, absolutely, absolutely.
Wow. Now this looks like a horned dog or something, or a goat.
It was a Great Dane. Great Dane Labrador mix,
Okay.
and there had been a thing done with his ears.
Like
He was Michael's dog, and he died at the bottom of the stairway down here in our main entrance.
oh no.
So he passed away in the house, and I had seen things burbling around on the floor. We'd seen other activity coming through the floor, and I tend to use the word portal very succinctly. I kind of feel like it may have been where the other staircase was, not necessarily a portal, because everybody says that. But we're not, we have to stop and think that these people are not held by doorways and walls, and they go wherever they want to go. I have a
Right.
picture in the same place of a little girl coming up through the floor. So that's a thing. And the mist back there, the movement around the mist, that's another little thing that we see sometimes.
Wow.
It looks like something's trying to manifest out of the mist at the
Yeah.
bottom, at the back wall there. And there's two folding chairs there, and that's it. So those are not folding chairs. I do see a lot go on right there. I see children go in and out. I've seen little boys with the news caps, newsboy caps on. Very
It
period.
looks like there's a face right under the bar to your right at the door.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at the shoulders.
Yeah. Wow.
It looks like a torso. And then if you look at it like a negative next to it, it looks like it could be a woman with hair on top. I mean, you can.
I was just about to
compare-
say, it looks like somebody like flip their hair to the side.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And the thing is, you can pareidolia yourself too. You can trick yourself a lot. So I'm very skeptical until I go over and over the pictures. And of course, always a series. Unless it's a series, it doesn't count in my mind.
Yeah.
No,
100%. I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, I look at these as an investigator wise, other
Yes.
than
Me too.
But yeah, no, if there's 5-6 pictures and there's literally a dark figure moving from each clip,
Yeah. It's kind of hard.
No.
Kind of hard to fake that. I'm not saying that people haven't faked things here before, but the joy of being me is I don't have to do that. I don't use Ouija boards. We don't believe in them.
Right.
Because we have vulnerable people here, and because people don't know how to use them. So the ability to do what I do has enabled me to not dabble I don't believe in dabbling. I think dabbling is dangerous for anyone, and I don't promote it, but I don't have to either. You know, if I ask nicely, hang around long enough, I'm going to get what I asked for more than likely.
For sure. Yeah, there's like I said, the Plum House here. I go to a jail a lot here in Florida also, and those spirits, both places, they've been calling for me. Yeah, I've been going to the Plum House for about a month and a half, like every Wednesday now.
Yeah.
And
Well,
yeah,
you know, they know who's good people and who's not, and they're obviously telling whoever they would like for you to come back. You know, which is really cool. You know,
which it's based out of different investigators, which is crazy. Because like I'll go there on a Wednesday, and then two other teams go there Friday or Saturday, and they're still getting Christopher through their spirit boxes from multiple teams, like to enough where the curator guy, my buddy Dave, he's like, dude, they keep calling they've called your name like 4 times now, in like a half hour, and I was like, well, tell him I'll be there Wednesday. I don't.
Yeah. That's cool, though. That's cool. I mean,
I like it a lot.
We see our doppelgangers here. My husband and I do.
Oh,
see each other. Yeah, we'll see each other. I consider it a compliment. I consider it a compliment. It's not in a malicious or anything way at all. We'll see each other walking through the house, but it's not. You know, then that's just that's just kind of like I could.
That's always been like the thing. You see a doppelganger, that's a bad thing. Is it not?
No, not here, not in this place, because they really like us. They really like us. They tease my husband a lot, but they really like the both of us. So I consider it kind of a compliment. My daughter also saw my husband walking down the hallway, and she was hollering at him, "Dad, Dad, Dad," and he wasn't paying any attention. And she found me in the office in here and said, "Why isn't Dad answering me?" And I said, "Well, he's out in the parking lot." She said, "No, he's not. I saw him down the hallway by the bathroom." And I said, "Well, no, he's not there, but this is what they do." She was freaked out by it. I was having a moment of, yay, you know, then somebody else saw it. You know, an outsider saw it.
Validates what you see, right?
Absolutely. That's the cool part. So what else you got? Oh,
I've been waiting. It just keeps getting better.
I have different exposures that I played with. This is the one that's most prevalent. This is our creeper. You can see he starts at the bottom and at the right and moves upwards. There's a longer shot of that too, where it spills out onto the floor. And this was about 2:30 p.m. So there was full light coming through there, but I didn't get full light coming through there. This is a filter, a different filter on it. I have a number of ones, but I liked how you could see that it was starting to go up and over at the top.
Yeah, because looks like it's coming out of the door and going up.
Yeah.
The other door jam.
Yeah, because there you can see it clearly in the daylight.
It blocks the whole part of the bottom of the door jam.
Yeah. And up. So obviously he was curious.
It looks like it has the same dark shadow on the other side too. The same darkness of the
a little bit. It looked like it was now on the far left there where that dark is. Yeah. That is a metal door that's painted white. So it really shouldn't be that dark. It really shouldn't be that dark.
Wow.
I mean, it's not uncommon here at all. I've got a number of pictures that if I'm really wanting to see something, I don't use a flash. So this was taken without a flash.
That's why I always use the red lights. The red lights or green lights.
Infrared, yeah. That's just because I felt like something was there. Like I said, it was the middle of the afternoon. So, and the next one you've got is interesting because that was,
It's
Yeah.
with a regular flashlight, but it's green.
yes, I have one too. Yeah.
I love these.
Yeah.
They're great.
Yeah.
That's this one.
Okay.
I've been excited. It
Yeah.
kind of looks like you're kind of just leaning over the bed.
Well, there's at least two of them.
Yeah.
This is what I call the working girls room. There was never prostitution carried on there, but I believe that we have women who needed a place to find shelter, and they were encouraged to come here especially if they had children or if they needed help. And then they would contribute. They would help cook, clean, care for children, whatever. But I call it my working girls room because there was a need to include these women who had hard lives, and
Right.
we're doing what women had to do back in the
Right.
day. We don't judge, and I tell people, no, it's not prostitutes' room. I believe that these are women who once had a social life, and they just wanted a place that they could call their own room. And I also started putting pictures out just outside the room of women from all different generations. And it's like the more the merrier. Matter of
Yeah.
fact, a good deal of the pictures throughout the house I have brought because it was the home for the friendless, and these were pictures that had no home. So adding to it as a medium, it's like, here, I've brought you some more people. It's like the more the merrier, which
Yeah.
is what's really cool about it.
That is
So,
really cool.
yeah. That I believe is a girl, and maybe a smaller person or a child possibly, but I definitely feel like it's a woman. That was sent to me by a guest, and what they smelled perfume, very heavy perfume in the room at the time.
I was
So that
gonna
was cool.
I was gonna ask, those kind of rooms, you put that kind of environment, you
Yep.
put that kind of intent into those kind of rooms. Do you smell the phantoms? Do you smell flowers, perfumes?
Yeah, we do in several rooms. There was a very beautiful formal garden down the front of the building, and Eliza's bedroom faced that way. So that was one of her great pleasures, was that. And they back in those days, they lots of times they made although she could afford it, they made their own fragrances.
Right.
And lilacs and roses were very common back in the day, and they would make oils or perfumes out of that, or rose water, different waters to
Yeah.
bathe with or wash their hair with. So fragrance is a big thing here. We also have a little old lady's room that smells like cashmere bouquet. It smells like your grandma's nightgown. Smells like
Yeah.
your grandma's nightgown drawer. The little old kind of a musty lady smell,
Yeah.
And her name is Harriet. And she has been known to waft out after people. They'll smell dusting powder when they go in her room. So that's
wow.
kind of a thing. Yeah, we do have smells. Smell cigars too.
Okay. Is there like certain parts, like, like this was like a smoking room, or is this kind of just
The room-
all over, or?
The room I'm in right now had really big double doors on one wall. The doors are no longer there, but this was the gentleman's parlor.
Okay.
The smaller
what I meant,
smaller room across the hallway was the ladies' parlor. At least that's what they tell me. And they would not have had as large as the men's. So
Right.
it would have been on a much more undertoned level. But this would have been the gentleman's parlor. And we do smell cigar smoke in here. That's a very common thing.
Well,
And
back
I think cognac too, like a very heavy liquor smell.
okay. I mean, that's usually, it goes hand in hand with those type
Mhm.
of parlors.
Yep. Cigars
Most of the
and
time, women parlor, they were sewing, reading a book, or they didn't
Yeah.
really need a lot of space. I guess I don't know.
well,
Where
we're
I was
all just guessing really until they tell we know for sure. So,
right. Now, these, I think they're all in sync. I hope I have them in right.
Hmm. That's the same place we saw the dog a little bit ago. And what interesting thing, when I showed Michael the picture of the dog, he said that's Armstrong. He actually named him Armstrong. And this is the same place where the dog came through, which leads me to believe it's almost like a stairway or something. You know, and stairs are really significant with spirits. I'm not really
Yeah.
sure why, except that it's a passage through their domain. You know, I mean, how many times would you have climbed the stairs every day? It's
Hundreds.
actually a thing. But awesome thing about this was right before I got, and this was taken from the surveillance camera. There was no one there, no one there. And I just get the notion sometimes to check it. And sometimes I'm just really lucky and I'll see things. Right before this, it looked like there was a multicolored flame coming up through the floor, which was very cool. My husband has a
So
recording of that.
I'm looking at this photo.
And then
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
that's fine. That's fine.
What?
It definitely I see a little girl.
I was going to say,
I see a little-
what am I supposed to be looking at?
Well, right there in the middle.
Okay.
And then down in front, it looks like something else. I don't know what, because I'm fixated on the little girl. It's a little girl with a Buster Brown haircut, like they would have had back in Victorian times.
Yeah, I see that. The little white square, it literally
Yeah.
looks like a man with a beard.
Really?
You see the eyes, the nose, the lips, and you see a full-size beard. Right in
Down
this,
here?
right to the left.
Okay.
So
Well, yeah. See,
yeah.
now that tall cylindrical thing is an old water cooler.
Oh, okay.
It's an old water
don't
cooler,
know.
but this hallway right here is extremely active. We've got a lot of morphing going on here, I think. I think.
Yeah.
But definitely the little girl, that's what I felt, because and that's the same place our mansion cat doesn't like it either. We have a mansion kitty and she doesn't like that spot. I think it's because of the dog.
It literally looks like a doll.
I know. I was torn between, that's a freaking Barbie head, you know, between the old school Barbie head, but I see little boys underneath it with like checkered shirts or jackets. You can see their heads, but you can see their news caps on. And that's what's so crazy about these pictures. You start looking at them, you see all kinds of things, then you have to look away and cleanse your palate and then go back to them. But there was just, on the camera, it just looked like it was everything, like it was coming to a boiling point back there.
I'm literally seeing like 5 faces right now.
I know.
I feel like I'm like in therapy right now, and they're testing me and showing like how many faces do you see?
There, see, and that's where I see a crowd very often. I have other pictures that look like women with children sitting at their feet and on like a couch or a settee and there isn't one there. There's just 2 metal chairs. So I don't, you know, that's what I call a time slip. There's a different exposure. You can see the boys clearly, and then you see that thing that looks like a freaking Barbie head, man.
It looks like a Barbie.
Looks like the original freaking Barbie that I had as a child.
You can see the little.
You see the eyes, the nose, and the cheekbones. I know, and the bangs.
Yeah, they're kind of like folded over.
Yeah, that's the first thing I saw. But then I was like, "Whoa! Look underneath it. Those are the little boys I see up there all the time." So that, yeah, there's a lot going on in these pictures, really. they're all taken from different times. Yeah, that's another exposure. But in front of all that, right where the water cooler is, it just looks like motion to me. There's no reason why there should be that much going on in that spot.
Yeah.
There was no one in the house but the cat. No one
Now,
was in the house
is
but the
this an
cat.
area that connects the two houses?
No, no, no. The area that connects the two wings, it's upstairs and downstairs, but that's the area where the creeper actually lives.
Okay.
So, see, it's two separate houses joined into one. They made the wing so that it vibed with the stairways and the woodwork and all that. They made a really good replication of it. But the pass through is what everybody calls it, is you can really honestly feel like it's not supposed to be there. Like, you're going to the other part of the house, but then again, there isn't another part of the house. It's just weird. And
Yeah.
at the junction of all these hallways, there was an upstairs and downstairs porch. So it's like, okay, you just feel all the activity that was there one time. It's strange. The residual energy here is just constant. There's always something going on around you, always. And we're chiming.
I was going to say, I just heard that.
Yeah.
Which I forgot to mention in the beginning of this episode. She's actually at the mansion right now. She's sitting in the mansion while she's talking about this. So thank you so much for doing it.
Yeah. Well, I thought it's a lot more relevant than my own living room. So why not do it? Do it. I like to spend a lot of time here. I spend as much time here as possible.
I honestly feel the same way. That's why I keep telling my buddy Henry about the jail. I was like, if I lived closer to the jail, I would just live there. I would just never leave.
Well, they might even hire you. I was a volunteer and then Michael decided he better hire me. I begged him to let me work here.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I had a mission. The first time I ever ran into all the children and the vulnerable people here, they wanted to be heard. They wanted to be brought up out of the basement. And they didn't want to be afraid anymore, which really bothers me that living people were afraid to be where they found comfort. And I won't tell lies about the dead. I won't make up stories about the dead. It's not cool. To me, it's kind of like it's like a sin, like a cardinal sin.
Right.
So they needed to be covered.
Do you believe in mirrors that are portals?
Oh, yes.
I was going to ask about this mirror. Is there anything connected to this mirror, or?
Well, where that mirror is now, it is not in that spot. Okay. This is in a room that you can see the entire brick wall. It's not in that spot. It's in a different room and it's on a dresser. But I do believe that, of course, if you look at a dirty mirror long enough, you're going to see things in it. Where that mirror is, there's actually 3 mirrors. And I tell people to take pictures of the hallway behind them through the open door. And a lot of people have had someone peeking around the corner. So, yeah, it's amazing what you could see in them. And we don't do Bloody Mary or anything like that. That's no, we don't need to do that. So
I've done it. It doesn't
have you? It doesn't. It's self-hypnosis. It's just self-hypnosis. Yeah. And you can do that with any mirror. You sit there long enough. And you look like something scary.
Yeah. So Bloody Mary, Candyman, pig, or what was the pig, the hair piggy, or whatever it was. I've tried them all. It doesn't. It's just a creepy kid staring at the window or mirror in the dark.
Yeah.
So I have a couple videos.
Okay.
If you have time for that,
Yeah, I do.
cool. So here's the first video, and then we'll talk about it after.
Okay. Oh. That's in the nurse's wing. There was actually a nurse's station there. There's call buttons on the wall back there.
This is for the nursing home.
Nurse's wing.
Okay.
Yeah, it actually has call buttons in all the rooms, and there's a panel that would have lit up behind this.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll draw your attention to the rag doll as well. She only has half a face, but it's only at night.
What?
Yeah. The rag doll has a full face, but she only has one eye at night. I'm not joking.
That's weird.
Yeah, and there's been some nights she didn't do it. So I know it's a thing. And pull back security footage from other times, and she's got a full face. So it's like, okay, why are you doing this? I don't necessarily believe a rag doll thing, you know.
Yeah.
I think Annabelle is made that way, shall I say?
Oh no,
made that way.
It's the intent that you put into it. Yeah.
Absolutely. And everyone has an intent if something's happening.
Yeah.
So that doesn't mean that it's not, because you can put things into vessels.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Dolls were designed as vessels.
Yeah.
So yeah,
100%.
you can do that.
Yep. They were made to put the spirits into the dolls so that people wouldn't mourn them.
Yeah. Okay. That didn't play to the end though, but there's all kinds of stuff moving around. Orbs, and orbs I know can be dust, but the place is very sealed up. All the windows are covered. All the windows are covered or locked, or there's no ventilation. And so if it's self-lit, that's a thing to me.
Yeah.
Flurries of dust are dust, but there's been an awful lot of going in and out of the rooms, and maybe up the steps, down the steps, and going back and forth, and that's not dust. There are no bugs. There are no bugs because this was wintertime. It was about 20 degrees in the house.
Oh, wow.
So that helps too. Plus, we try to eliminate all that.
Do you see orbs and everything with your own eyes?
Yes. I saw one in that very same spot at the bottom of the stairs where there's actually a table with an old phone I have set up. But I was standing in that spot and I thought, okay, there's something coming. I need to film it. And when I held my camera up, I hadn't even hit record yet. And it was a big yellow orb, like you would see a little like the sun, although smaller, about dinner plate size. And it was moving in a corkscrew fashion. And right about the time I had my partner with me, Joe, who is no longer with us, but I had him with me. And when it got to me, it literally, that's the only place I've ever been put upon in a physical fashion. I've been touched and everything else, but this is the only time I felt it was not friendly. And it lifted me up onto the balls of my feet. So after some coaxing, it let me go. And then the next day I came back and I had a chat with them. They, you're not allowed to do this. I realized you were testing me, and that's okay. But you don't want to chase me away. It wasn't good when I wasn't here.
Right.
So, you can talk to them. They were people. I don't know who or what it was, but the cool thing was it obviously knew who I was.
For sure.
So, yeah.
For sure.
My witness to that is no longer with us, but he saw it happening. He saw me up on the balls of my feet, and I am not a ballerina. but he saw it happen, and him and I was trying to yell and he was yelling, and then it just let me go.
Oh,
Haven't
wow.
seen it since, but I have been grumbled at in that area. But grumbling to me is grumbling, you know?
That's what I said. Some people are just grumpy old man.
Well,
type
if
of-
they were harumphy in life, they're going to be harumphy in death,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And you can't fault them for wanting. Oh God, here comes another one. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Yeah.
like here they are, they're doing this again. That's why I always say, I know you know me, and I say my name. I'm also the third Mary Ann associated with this house,
Oh,
which
wow.
is kind of interesting.
That is interesting.
So
Is that,
that's
maybe
very cool.
did you ever catch like Mary Ann in research yet? Or
Yes. Yes. I know that Armstrong Beattie inherited a Negro girl. She was 13 and her name was Mary Ann. And that was
Wow.
when he was 22 years old. I don't believe she came to this place with him. Maybe she did. I don't know. But one of Eliza's nieces that was raised here, her name was Mary Ann. And then when I came in here and started moving around and like doing things, tweaking here, tweaking there, cleaning up, making displays and generally talking to them, I heard they're like, oh, you're not that one. And I was
Yeah.
like, no, I'm not. I'm this one. So it's kind of like they recognize, well, you should have been here before, but it wasn't you. So
Right.
that's kind of cool. But it's part of the feeling like I belong here thing,
Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I've been pretty dominant at this Plum house. Like
Mm-hmm.
I said, other than other investigators, they come and go. Like I said,
Mm-hmm.
I've been going every week now, pretty much for the past month. So
Well, when you become familiar, you become part of the plan.
yeah,
I think, you're inserting your energy there all the time.
right,
And as long as it's good, they're going to want you back.
right.
So
I try
there's
to
that.
acknowledge Miss Plum. I tried to, we have a couple experiments that we're gonna do tomorrow. I hope it really works out.
Well,
But we have,
the lady of the house should always be recognized.
yeah,
That's one of the things I do every day because she wants me to is I wind the clock on the mantle. I wind the clock. And that's one thing she would do. And I try to open the curtains and let light in until I have to close them later. But I try to let the light in. And that's something she would have done as well. So I feel like I'm kind of helping her out a little bit, maybe.
yeah. Now you mentioned that a little bit the beginning of the show. You said you feel like you're channeling her a little bit, or
Yeah.
can you explain that a little bit more?
Well, she had a fall someplace in this house. And it was just a couple of weeks after Armstrong died. So not only did her life change drastically when he died and other people became in charge of things, her life stopped then. And being bedridden, sometimes when I'm on the stairs here, I feel a hand on my shoulder, like, slow down. We've got, I've got you.
Yeah.
I've had other friends come here who are mediums, and this one I'm very close to. I always feel like I have the man of the house who is a black man. His name was Jack, so he was called Black Jack. And then Eliza, the actual lady of the house, I feel like they're always with me, but I was standing at the door to let her in off the parking lot, and she said, you've got an elderly black man with you and a woman with her hair all put up next to you. And I said, yeah, those are my people.
Yeah.
I feel their presence all the time, really. It's comforting to me,
So was that
Anyway.
was he like the caretaker of the house?
Well,
Kinda
back
like
in those
under the-
times, he was the manager of the house.
Okay.
Jack was the manager of the house. The caretaker's name is Carl. We actually found people want to know when he was hired, how long he was here. I don't know, but I know he's very prevalent. He's very protective. And if you go down to the basement, where I believe his room is, I've kept it just the way it was. It's grungy. He didn't want anything done to it. People go down there and if they provoke him, he'll get grumbly and growly and he'll chase you out of there. But if
Yeah.
you give him respect, once I found out what his name was, it's like, oh, damn, he's really here. You smell cigarettes, sweat, and coal dust with Carl. We
Okay.
did find a thing in the newspaper. My coworker Danielle found a thing in the newspaper, an ad, custodian for the memorial home, and that was 1900. So could have been him, but I think of Carl like Jack Torrance in The Shining. You've
Okay.
always been here, Mr. Torrance.
Yeah.
You know, and people want to know. They want to put constraints on him time wise, but that's not important to me. It's just important to me that he's recognized. And he's still got a job to do. He's very protective of the children. And it makes me think that he might have been a vulnerable child at one time. You
Right.
know? So there could be that. You can surmise all kinds of things, but I choose to go with what feels the best in my gut,
Okay.
as well as what I can prove factually. So how long he's been here to me is like he just belongs, you know? He just belongs.
So now back in those days they had slaves, they had all that. We all know that. Having a black gentleman as a house manager, was that a thing, or
Yes, he would
they
trust.
take care of the servants and stuff?
Yeah, he would be keeping the rest of the staff. I'm calling them staff in line, managing that. They would respect a man more than they would a woman. So I believe that was his agent basically in the house. He worked for Armstrong and under Armstrong, which is what he tells me, that he's in charge. And I said, well, you're going to have to share part of that now. But
Right.
he always has a very much in charge persona to me. So I believe that he worked for Armstrong. And then the housemaid worked for Eliza. And I think her name was Daisy.
Okay. So they were kind of just the head of the house type of under
yes, she worked under Eliza's direction. He managed the people who worked throughout. I guess you could say he was in charge of all the slaves.
Yeah. Wow.
And I have no record they were treated badly. I have no record that anything happened with any of them. I have no record that there was a child born from anyone other than other slaves. I do have the 1860 slave record, which was the first census. They called it the slave record, where you had to declare your slaves as part of your property.
Right.
And it has the sex, where they were born, and their age. And that's all, no names. Except the number 15 all the way at the bottom is just a dash. So it was there was a person not born yet. So
Wow.
I don't know. You can't put that on to person just because they own slaves, you know.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But in their plot, there is a little girl the tombstone's very degraded. Her name is Rosea. And there's no record. I can't find anything on her. But she has a child's tombstone with a little lamb on the top and is in the corner of their plots. And I believe Armstrong had her buried there.
Maybe she was
in the family plot. Yeah.
Maybe
He actually bought the plot from himself too, by the way.
Oh,
He was the major shareholder in Mount Morris Cemetery, which is beautiful, but he was the major shareholder. So when he bought his plot, high up on the top, the highest part of the cemetery, of course. It was going to be a grand monument. There's an obelisk there, but the tombstones are for each person, they're very basic. But those were put there by the people of St. Joseph because Armstrong Beattie was haunting the cemetery because they had no tombstones.
Wow.
There's a lot of reasons why they could be hanging around. Really,
Yeah,
lots of
for
reasons.
sure.
Lots of reasons, and it doesn't have to all be gory, but it is kind of intriguey. You know, there's an intrigue
Yeah.
to it, which I find very cool.
Wow. So we have one more video, and then there's the
Okay.
question of the week. So here's the video.
Oh.
So can you explain what the Betty Wing is?
That is the area where I used to investigate. It's one of my favorite places in the house. You can see that they constantly change direction.
Yeah.
So to me, it's actual things moving because this you can see on the light cord, there is a piece of ribbon. And I put it there so that I could detect breezes. And there were no bugs. It was cold. This was the third week in March, and it was very cold. Plus, we also make sure we don't have bugs because they ruin your evidence. And we spray, we fog, we kill everything that would draw bats or ruin your evidence. And this is an area right here to the right. That door is Armstrong's room. We had that dedicated to Armstrong. And that was the last room that my partner Joe slept in before he died.
Wow.
And he died very tragically, and we miss him. And he told me, we both said, what are you going to do after the end? And I said, well, I'm going to have some fun with these people. I mean, I am going to have some fun. I said, what are you going to do? He said, I'm going to light the place up. I'm going to light it up. And then about 2 weeks after his funeral, I was sitting up there, and it was in March, and it was cold. It was very cold. And I was sitting there, and I was like, Joe, show me that you're okay. Show me that you're all right. And it's not this video because this was taken at a different time, but
Right.
but it's the lighted up thing. The video that I actually got sitting up there I guard it very jealously too. I don't normally share it, but it is a circular movement that looks like a tunnel of sparkler lights. Like you got 10 kids doing sparklers
Wow.
in a circular motion. And
That's
that really is what gave me hope. We have a little memorial here in the place for Joe. And I always tell people get Joseph on their equipment up there. And I tell people, well, I know exactly who that was. So I feel like he shows up there and he shows me he's lighting the place up. So
Wow.
we see pings of light up there a lot for absolutely no reason.
Wow. I was gonna say, what does he light up lights? Does he more
He just
orb
makes
lights or
if you've got it looks like sparklers. If you've got 15, 20 people flicking their bic all at the same time, it's like that. Just spark, 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 spark. Like I called my husband and I said, look at this. I said, Gary, it's Joe. It's Joe. It's got to be Joe. That's the last place we investigated together, the last spot, and he slept in that room right there. And I really feel in my heart that it's Joe. Plus, people, like I said, have gotten his name. We have SLS footage before he died of children climbing all over him. I know he's still here. This was his favorite place to investigate. And
Wow.
he knew the place even better than I did. So I know it's him. It gives me hope. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Gives me
sure.
hope, makes me feel better. And I know there's communication on the other side. That's what I do. But the things that make you feel better. Plus, we're also good friends with his widow, and she always feels him when she's here. You know, I
That's
send her these clips too, and I tell her Joe showed up again. So she
That's
believes the
awesome.
same thing. So it is awesome.
That is,
I know where I'm going to haunt.
yeah, for sure.
Well, one of the places I'm going to mess with my kids pretty good, but yeah, I got a lot of things I want to do here. I joke about that, picking people's pockets, giving them a wet willy, something. Just mess with. I kind of have a sense of humor. I kind of use sometimes.
Yeah.
So I just thought, I'm going to have some fun with these people. They want action, I'll give it to them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I remember being at I've been at Penhurst and heard whistling in my ear. That was an experience I'll never forget.
Yeah.
Like,
Did you
just
feel the
walking,
did you feel the air?
everything? Yeah.
Okay,
Everything.
if you felt the actual blowing into your ear, that's it. Yeah. You
I
can't
thought my
deny
friend
that.
was behind me messing with me. Like,
Mm.
enough to where I like turned around. I was like, "What the? All right."
Were you filming?
I wasn't.
Oh, see,
It wasn't.
that's
It
the
wasn't there.
thing.
I have never investigated. I've been there 3 times. I've been there for like the haunted house part of Penhurst.
Yeah.
So I've never actually investigated Penhurst yet, which hopefully I can soon before they tear it down. Hopefully not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully we can save it.
That's the one that was closed down by one of the Kennedys, I believe, Bobby Kennedy, isn't it? Isn't that the
Yeah.
one?
Yeah. They
Yeah,
closed
Bobby
down in the
Kennedy. Yes.
70s. Yeah.
And it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible treatment.
It was,
You know,
it was
that
called the Shape of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, well, that's the kind of place that might very well make me sick. It would be so
Yeah.
overwhelming,
Oh
you
my
know.
God.
Yeah.
The moment that I got out of the car and started walking down the property, like I'm getting chills right now just thinking about
Mhm,
the energy
mhm.
and because I'm a sensitive. I'm not necessarily more of a medium, but I feel
That's all it
rooms.
takes, though.
I feel like I've always trusted my gut. Like that's your number one tool. I tell that to everybody. Trust your gut. Trust your body.
Yeah, yeah. If
And
it's not something that you're doing right then it's something else.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the whole time I was in there, it wasn't even necessarily the energy of like the haunted house because I'm a haunt actor. I know that energy. Like I know somebody's out there trying to scare me. That's their job. That's what I'm here for. But then there's a whole other energy that I felt walking through the property, and then you go through the Mayflower building, and like everything's exactly the way it was when they left. The beds are there, the chairs are there, everything, and you kind of walk through the building, and
That would be
oh man, I can't even imagine
overwhelming. That would be overwhelming.
It was very, very overwhelming.
Yeah.
Like I had to
mental
walk.
hospitals. Oh my God. Ugh.
I had to walk back to the car and like just I had to
Shake it off.
like shaking. Yeah. Like just no. Like just stay here.
When I do Missouri State Pen. I got out of the car. We parked in back in behind the tower where a lot is. I got out of the car and I said, "They're beneath us. They're beneath us." And I asked the tour guide, I said, "There's people buried up there." And he goes, "No, they were buried over there." And I said, "No, there's people up there, and they would not bury them with these other people that are nameless. They would not bury them with them." And I looked at him and I said, "They were sick. They died during an epidemic, and there was an unmarked cemetery underneath the parking lot."
Wow.
And when they found out was when the tornado came through about 5 days after we were there, ripped the shit out of everything. And then when they started putting it back together, they found the graves. Ding, ding, ding. You know,
We actually just had Jenny on like 3-4 weeks ago for the
Did ya?
Missouri State Pen. Yeah.
yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't.
My
she didn't
husband
tell-
actually trained. My husband actually trained for a job with the Department of Corrections there.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And I asked him now if you feel anything. He goes, you feel like they're all standing there on the walk, the catwalks, looking over at you. But he didn't. He really didn't have. He really didn't have the investigator in him at that
Right.
point.
Right.
But me, oh yeah, that place, ugh. And being a woman walking through, I'm also very small in stature.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like I felt like, oh, I could be a plaything, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Not, you know. I worked in a maximum security prison too, which is interesting. And then you go in there as an investigator, and then they start doing stuff like breaking your phone and killing your equipment and draining your batteries
Yeah.
and pushing your knees behind you, punching your knees from behind you, that kind of thing.
I
So
haven't had
yeah,
that one yet. That'd be interesting.
yeah,
But
go for it. The parking lot, they've got it now where it's actually marked, I believe, as an unmarked cemetery. And they died during smallpox or influenza, something like that. They died during a catastrophic wave of illness.
Oh,
So
wow.
they were afraid to touch the bodies. So
right.
basically, they had a big pit and they threw them in. So, and then there's the fact that they did die in prison. So, funny thing though, I felt nothing in the gas chamber. I felt nothing in the gas chamber. But going down the sidewalk to it, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Screaming and crying. Yeah, it was, yeah. It was odd.
Huh.
I thought for sure I'd be bowled over in there, and I wasn't. But going down the sidewalk to it, yeah, I was. It's like they were all screaming, "Turn back, turn back, turn back." You know, you don't want to go in there, kind of thing.
That's
So
the last walk. That's when you finally realize that you're
dead man
this is it.
walking. Yeah,
Yeah, this is it.
They literally will take you down the long walk inside the building, and then from the building to the gas chamber. And there's people in the windows watching. They're watching this happen. They used to actually. It's built with a big hill behind it. And the people would sell tickets from their front yards for
They
people
would
to
sit in
view.
the hill. Yeah.
Yes, to view the hangings,
Yeah.
the executions. And they would bring families and have picnics.
Yeah.
And it's like, my God, you know,
Yeah.
isn't it? I don't know, you know, a lot of people might like that. Me, not so much.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I could sit there and watch somebody hang.
Different time. Oh,
Yeah.
there's people that I wouldn't mind sitting in on their executions, but you know, that's not going to happen. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that, you know, I just try to keep it light. Try to keep it light. You know, there's a lot of people I would not want to be there when they passed. I wouldn't want that energy rushing at me,
Right.
honestly.
Right.
You know.
All right. So this is the last thing for the show, and then I'll get out of your hair. So it's the question of the week. Anybody that's watching this on YouTube or watching this later on Facebook, write in the comments of what you would rather do with this question of the week. Mary, I would like to get your intake, but the conversation that we've had, you kind of already do. Mm-hmm. So this is the question of the week. So, question of the week: would you rather feel them or see them?
Feel them. Feel them, because that's like that. That's an olfactory sense. It's not just my mind working.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah, let's see
this
that.
the seeing using my third eye, that's no big deal to me, but the actual feeling them, and someone just walked past the hallway. Oh, that's anyway. Just actually feeling them is kind of a little bit of a prize, you know. And I feel them often,
You said
but
something walked by the doorway.
yeah, yeah. Oh, it happens all the time. I'm talking about
What did
them.
you just see?
I just saw a very dark shadow go up the stairs, right through the doorway. So that, but it happens all the time. We're talking about them. Be giving a tour, and what I said actually happens.
Yeah,
So I think that encourages them, you know. And I've been talking about them for a while now, so it doesn't surprise me. I probably could have seen more if I'd been paying attention,
yeah.
but
I was gonna mention every time you said Joe, your screen froze, and then it would come back. I didn't know if you saw that on your end or not, but on my
no,
end, you said
no,
Joe and started
no, I
talking
didn't.
about it. The whole time you were talking about your screen was froze, and then you stopped talking
Wow.
about it, and then we went normal again.
Joe was also our tech person for the mansion.
Okay,
Does not surprise me at all. Does not surprise me at all.
wow,
That's very cool. That's very cool.
yeah.
That's very
I didn't know
cool.
if you saw that on your end or not. I wanted to mention
No, I did
that.
not. No, I did not, but it does not surprise me at all. Oh,
Uh,
see, that's why I'm here, man. That's why I'm here. And when it fits, it falls into place. If I can actually name who I'm interacting with, that's a very big deal.
oh,
But
for sure.
Joe is a constant here. He was we used to call him my paranormal son.
Got you.
So me and my husband and I were both very close to Joe, and I like knowing that he's still around. But that's very
The,
cool.
the,
Hmm.
you said paranormal sledding and it glitched again. Just to let you know,
I'm gonna cry.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make.
No, 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 no. This is from my heart. You know,
Yeah.
this just touches me. It just really touches me.
Well, maybe we can do a part 2 and do a walkthrough of the house or something. Or
Oh, I'll give it to you.
awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that I got to experience that with you.
Mhm.
If I'd like to say, obviously he's here and listening. Rest in peace. I hope you're in peace, and obviously you still with your friends, and rest in peace.
Yeah. I would encourage everyone who's watching to visit us at the Beattie Mansion. You can Google the Beattie Mansion, and lots of stuff comes up. There's some stuff that I actually do give tours in, and has made it to broadcast, and those are interesting. We've had some pretty important people here. We've had Amy's Crypt has been here 3 times,
That's
and
cool.
that's always very cool. Yeah. Let's see, the Paranormal Files was here. God, just lots of people. And now my
Nick and
mind
Katrina.
is, yeah, yeah. I reached out and offered Nick to come back again with new information, and since the building has changed so much, and yeah, obviously it didn't fit into his plans, but it didn't
Right,
happen. But I would like that. See, what do you see now? How do you feel about this now?
right.
Because we're more active than ever. So that's very cool. But I would encourage people to go to thebeattymansion.com and check us out. Rent us for a night.
So I just pulled them up, but I'll pull them up again and explain what the QRs are. So this
Okay.
is to thebeattymansion.com, their website. I'll give you a second for that. And then this is their Facebook, Beattie Mansion Facebook page. You message them on both ends, and you'll be able to get Mary or Michael.
Michael. Yeah. Mine is the Beattie Mansion Research paranormal research and historical something or other. I don't know.
You're gonna have to
But
send me that.
yeah. If you Google me, unfortunately, a lot of that will come up. And I apologize in advance for the old woman being in the media, but I am. So
It's okay. It's all good.
yeah, it's okay.
But thank you so much, Mary, for coming in and speaking with us. I didn't even realize it was 2 hours.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I do go on.
Oh,
You know,
no,
I mean,
no, I love talking about it. I can't wait to do a part 2 and see the house.
well, you know, if you're ever up this way, I know somebody that has keys, and they can let you in. You know.
I might hit you up on that. I might do a Missouri Beattie Mansion type
Actually,
thing.
there's a lot in our area that's to see, and we got a lot of haunted locations. The Glore Psychiatric Museum is here.
Oh,
You
wow.
need to see that because that has the largest collection. I know all these factoids about my town. It has the largest collection of mental health memorabilia or tools, torture devices in the entire world. It's in the Guinness Book of Records.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely right up my alley.
You should check it out. It's a thing, all right. It's very cool, very cool.
But I will definitely, if I'm ever in that way, I will definitely message you and let you know I'm in the area.
Cool. You look up my name, Marianne Podrasky, and what's on the screen, and a lot of information will come up in that, as well as some videos that we've done. And I'm all over YouTube. But you know, anyway, yeah, and that's the actual factual information instead of rumor. But some of the rumors are cool. They're just rumors, though.
Yeah.
But if you rent, you'll find out what's real and what's not.
Right.
What's live and what's Memorex. You know?
Right. But thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Definitely. I can't wait to keep this friendship going and see where it goes. But
oh yeah, you should definitely have some play dates with Michael.
oh, I'm definitely going to. I didn't realize he was that close, for sure.
He loves the macabre, man. He loves the macabre. So
I'm down. I'm so excited to meet him.
okay.
But remember, everybody, always stay creepy. Have a good night. Bye, Mary.
Bye.